This conference will now be recorded.
So, I thought that photo had burned and died. Apparently not. Morning, everyone. This morning, Exhort is based on sight. So we've heard some very lovely exhorts in the past from Brother Jonathan and Brother Nate on other senses. So I thought I would pick my next favourite sense that I thought was going to be easy. So yeah, good luck with sense. All right. So this morning I thought we'd look at sight and we'll work through what sight is, how it impacts our lives, and wrap it all together with some wise words and warning from the Apostle Paul. So, what is sight? The scientific definition, sight is the ability to see and perceive with the eyes, or visually discern. There are many different aspects to our sight. We have a physical image that we see, but it goes deeper than that. There's colour, there's detail, there's a depth of field, there's focus, and the physical limit and boundary of our eyes. Some of you guys sitting here might have perfect 20/20 vision. You can see a lot better than others around. Well, you may be lucky, you may not need visual aid, others might need glasses or contact lenses to help them see. But even more of a select few, their sight cannot be aided whatsoever, and they are considered blind. I personally cannot imagine what being plunged into utter darkness for an extended period of time is felt. You might tell me, oh, being blind can't be that bad. But when you close your eyes, you can still see. You can feel the Bible on your lap. Your brain shows you black words on white pages. You hear me speak, but you know what my face looks like. You can remember the color of my hair. Imagine having none of that information, solely relying on your touch, smell, hearing, and taste to shape your image of what you're holding. To be honest, that kind of scares me to think about how much I take my sight for granted. I rely so much on my sight. For instance, when I'm driving, when I'm reading, when I'm simply walking down the street. It's only when someone puts a blindfold on you that you realize just how dark and lonely the world truly is without your sight. I don't have enough blindfolds for everyone today, but I would like us all to take a minute to close our eyes and experience the dark. As your eyes are closed, just imagine never being able to see the person sitting next to you, the faces of your loved ones, the beautiful nature around you, or the sun as it shines in the blue skies. We take our sight for granted so often, but having an ability to see is truly a gift of God, so use it wisely. What we choose to fill our minds with, or the images we show ourselves, have an everlasting effect on our brains. Those images can benefit us for or those images can hinder us. As one way or another, they will shape our minds and ultimately mold our lives. Once you've seen something, you cannot unsee it. This is also very true when we come to the spiritual focus on the eye. Sight and seeing is mentioned in the Bible many times and in many different ways. In some instances, God teaches us that our sight is good and can help us in our walk toward the kingdom. In other instances, God tries to warn us by showing us how our sight can lead us astray and towards temptations. The very first mention we have of sight in the Bible is in Genesis 1 verse 4, after God said, "Let there be light." And it reads, "And God saw that the light was good." In this very first mention of sight in the Bible, God is using his own sight. He is observing his own work and seeing that it is good. God is telling us his personal thoughts on light and is telling us directly that light is good, that I should see the light and strive to get out of dark myself. This is especially true for Paul on the road to Damascus. He needed to be blinded to then see spiritual things. Of course, light in this case is referring to the truth, to the hope and promise of God's kingdom coming. Let's turn up Luke 11, verse 33 to 36, which I think links perfect. Luke 11, verse 33 to 36. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it in a hidden place or under a basket, but on a lampstand, so that those who come in and see the light. Your eye is the lamp of your body. When your eye is healthy, your whole body is full of light. But when it is diseased, your body is full of darkness. Therefore, be careful lest the light in you be darkness. If then your whole body is full of light, having no part dark, it will be wholly bright, as then a lamp with its rays giving you light. Light and darkness become two major themes in the Bible. Light speaks of God himself. 1 John 1, verse 5 tells us, "This is the message which you have heard from him and declare to you, that God is light, and in him is no darkness at all." While on the other hand, darkness speaks of wickedness. Proverbs 4, verse 19, "But the way of the wicked is like deep darkness." So not only do our eyes help us to see the light, God is telling us here that using our eyes also helps us to become a light to others. When we see the truth with our own eyes, we are able to show others the way, and help them to see the truth and what awesome things God has promised for us. Just as Luke 11 talks about lighting a lamp and then hiding it, do we light our lamps and hide them away from others? Or do we put our lamp on a light stand and become an example to others, encouraging them in righteousness and truth? Ella, in taking a leap of faith and getting baptized yesterday, you have publicly displayed to us that you have indeed seen the light. Not only has she seen it, she is also committed to becoming a light herself, so that others can believe too. So this is a very positive aspect of sight. It helps us to see the truth and show others the truth. Now let's look at the other side of it, the not so good things about our ability to see. Let's turn up Genesis 3, verse 6. Genesis 3, verse 6. So when the woman saw the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate. And she also gave to her husband who was with her, and he ate. The word pleasant here actually means desire, longing of one's heart, lust, appetite, or covetous, bad sense. This is a section of scripture that we all probably know quite well. It is the moment that Eve disobeyed God and committed a sin against him. It is the moment of the fall when our lives and futures were decided for us. However, I want to point out an interesting aspect of this. The woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was a delight to the eyes. Sight and eyes are mentioned twice here. Eve had the desire or covetousness to take of the fruit, but what went wrong was the intentions behind her actions. She filled her mind with the image of being like the angels, seeking status rather than diligently seeking God and obeying his commandments. The serpent, a symbol of human thinking and reasoning, in this scenario sets the scene for how Eve used the forbidden fruit. It's an example of how what we let into our minds can shape the outcome of our lives. James 1, verse 13 to 16 turn up quickly. James 1 verse 13. Let no one say when he is tempted, I am tempted by God. For God cannot be tempted by evil, and he himself tempts no one. But each one is tempted when he is lured and enticed by his own desires. When desire conceives, it gives birth to sin. When sin is fully grown, it gives birth to death. Do not be led astray, my dear brothers and sisters. So the problem is that where the eyes wander, the heart quickly follows and subsequently falls. How many of us leave our eyes on too long of a leash? For some, like King David, these desires can lead us to do unspeakable things. For others, it's something less salacious, like sports scores or news headlines. For others, Instagram or Facebook, YouTube or Netflix, sometimes even shopping. Just because something isn't inherently bad doesn't mean it can't fill our eyes and minds so full that it crowds out the one who matters most. That's what darkened eyes are. Eyes so full of something other than Christ that they no longer see and enjoy him. With that, let us ask ourselves a few questions as we prepare our minds together. What percentage in a 12-hour day do you and I fill our eyes, therefore our brains, with things that are godly? Now, we have a bigger question. What percentage in the same 12-hour day do we fill our eyes and our brains with things that aren't godly? How are we going to change this? We each need to be specific about what the change actually looks like. Otherwise, it highly likely will not be achieved. King David's advice in Psalm 101 verse 3 reads, I will set no wicked thing before my eyes. Job chapter 31 goes even further, where Job says, I have made a covenant with my eyes. Wise words indeed. The Apostle Paul has some very wise words that I believe are very beneficial to consider these questions as we examine ourselves. These words are in Ephesians 5, verse 5 to 16. Ephesians 5, reading from verse 5. For you can be confident in this one thing, that no person who is immoral, impure, or greedy, such as a person as an idolater, has any inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and God. Let nobody deceive you with empty words, for because of these things, God's wrath comes on the sons of disobedience. Therefore, do not be partakers with them, for you were at one time darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of the light. For the fruit of the light consists in all goodness, righteousness, and truth, trying to learn what is pleasing to the Lord. Do not participate in the unfruitful deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. For the things they do in secret are shameful even to mention. But all things are exposed by the light and are made evident. For everything made evident is light. For this reason, it says, Awake, O sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ shall shine on you. Therefore, be very careful how you live, not as unwise, but wise, taking advantage of every opportunity, because the days are evil. So let us make the most of this opportunity now to renew our covenant with God. Let us walk by faith and not by sight, Let us see the glory of God. All